April 7th. Today my husband is due to return from a business trip to Benin, West Africa. Over the long years of marriage, I almost got used to separation. It's my own fault. I knew who I was marrying. Ethnology has always been the strongest passion in Artyom's life. 2 months. And here we are together again. I'm going to cook duck, Artyom's favorite dish. April 8th. All evening yesterday, Artyom was somehow distant and almost did not talk to me. Didn't even kiss. Didn't touch the duck at all. It seemed as if my presence annoyed him. Or maybe I wind myself up and Artyom just tired from the road. Lurchi, our dog, also behaved strangely. All evening he whined and did not want to get out from under the bed. He didn't even approach Artyom. Although during the day everything was fine. Withdrawal, probably. Strange. April 9th. Artyom is still kind of unsociable. He never leaves the house, often locks himself in the bathroom and talks to someone. At first I thought it was on the phone. But I remembered that not a single phone catches there, the only, dead, place in the apartment. I tried to talk to him, he answers rudely, even with aggression. I don't understand anything. She barely pulled Lurchi for a walk, did not want to get out from under the bed at all, resisted and barked. On the street he behaved normally. It begins to seem to me that he is afraid of Artyom. April 10th. Something is wrong with Artyom. I tried to sort out his bag, but Artyom grabbed my hand so hard and pushed me away that I hit my back painfully against the corner of the closet. Then he did not even apologize and closed himself in the bathroom again. In general, now he doesn't come out of there, he sings some stupid tunes. I'm embarrassed and scared. These mooings of his terrify me. What's going on with him anyway? The 11th of April. This afternoon I got a call from my husband's work. The interlocutor brought me his condolences and informed me that Artyom had died in Benin, during the expedition. There was a conflict with the leader of one of the local tribes and all members of the group were taken away in an unknown direction, and then brutally killed. Allegedly, someone from the group insulted the priest of the Voodoo religion, and he gave the order to his wars about the imminent reprisal against strangers. Now everything fell into place. It turns out that Artyom miraculously managed to avoid this massacre and he was able to return. These words somehow explained the strange behavior of her husband. Survive such a nightmare. When I told Artyom's colleague that he was alive, he did not believe at first, but then he was very happy and surprised that he was not informed. After a conversation with Artyom's colleague, I immediately rushed home from work. I wanted to hug and comfort my beloved. He really needs support right now. And I, the fool, was still angry with him. I rang the doorbell for a long time, but Artyom did not open it. Using my key, I entered. The husband sat on the carpet and swayed from side to side, mumbling some mantras. He paid no attention to me. Lurchi was also nowhere to be seen. Usually the dog always met me at the door. It was disquieting. Suddenly I was distracted by a vibration in my pocket. I received a text message from my husband's colleague. He asked Artyom to contact him as soon as possible. The leadership refuses to believe that anyone could have survived that carnage. After briefly reading the message, I accidentally pressed the wrong place and switched to camera mode. My hand trembled. What was reflected on the screen led me first into a stupor, and then into panic and horror. On the screen of the phone, directed just at the place where the husband was sitting, some kind of creepy-looking man with dark skin and red eyes was reflected. I was frightened in earnest and rushed into the nearest room. To the bathroom. Once inside, I locked the door shut and leaned against it on the other side, closing my eyes tightly. We had to get together. I opened my eyes and screamed. The whole bathtub was smeared with blood, and a gutted Lurchi lay in the corner. The wall tiles and the mirror were adorned with obscure symbols, also drawn in blood. I screamed and couldn't stop. There were thumps on the door. A wild inhuman roar was heard. I'm scared. I know it's Artyom, or whoever he is. I can't call anyone, there's no connection here. The door is already cracking, it won't last long. I don't know how much more I have left, and I'm writing this in the hope that Prawatim. My mother cursed me and my family. Only because I did not agree to marry the one she chose for me, but preferred Roman. At first I did not believe in the curse, but then it began to come true. After the wedding, Roma insisted that we return to his hometown. In the new place, troubles began to fall on us one after another. A sentence for fraud, an earthquake destroyed the house, my children died before they even reached a year. We often had to move from place to place until we finally settled in one small town. My husband helped me open my own shop with different goods. By that time, I had already been pregnant 17 times, but only 4 babies were saved. Evil fate followed me on my heels. All my strength was focused only on saving the remaining children. I became superstitious, often turned to fortune tellers and palmists. I myself read a lot of occult literature. I had to break the curse no matter what. Soon my prayers were answered. In one of the books, I found a way to get rid of the curse. It was necessary to make a sacrifice of 3 women. Like thunder from a clear sky, the news of the beginning of the war fell upon us. It was 1939, and my eldest son was to be called to the front. Something urgently needed to be done. Immediately. The thought of losing another child of mine terrified me. And I made up my mind. Even then, I practiced divination sessions, and had my regular clients. Business in the store was going badly, and fortune-telling served me as a good part-time job. One day Faina came to the session. This old maid still did not give up hope of meeting her prince. Ideal candidate. I predicted her that her betrothed is now waiting for her in another city and she urgently needs to go to him, otherwise the chance will be missed. And then she asked not to tell anyone about this, so as not to jinx it. She advised that it was better to write postcards to all friends and relatives, but send them after meeting with your loved one. As I asked, Faina came to me just before leaving with signed postcards. I offered her wine, after drinking which she fell unconscious. After that, I hacked the woman with an axe, and then she threw the pieces into a saucepan, adding 7 kilograms of caustic soda, which she bought to make soap, and stirred the whole mixture until the pieces turned into a thick, dark porridge, which had to be poured into several buckets. When I finished cooking, I poured all this porridge into the nearest waste tank. As for the blood in the basin, I waited for it to curdle, dried it in the oven, ground it and mixed it with flour, sugar, chocolate, milk and eggs, and a little margarine, kneading all the ingredients. I made a lot of crunchy cupcakes for tea and treated them to the women who came to see me. However, the children and I also ate them. After all, I went to the post office and sent postcards. My second victim was a woman who was trying to find a job. I saw that a suitable job was waiting for her in a nearby town, and then I asked her, like Faina, to write postcards to all her friends and acquaintances. The circuit worked flawlessly. Another 4 weeks have passed. I met Victoria. She was also looking for a job. This time, I must say, the muffins came out especially tasty. Everyone liked it very much. The book did not deceive, the ritual worked, and the son really stayed at home. Several years have passed. I had already forgotten about those days, only occasionally tormented by guilt. Suddenly the police came to my house. It was useless to refuse. 3 years in a psychiatric hospital and 30 years in prison is not the worst ending for me. But I don't regret anything. I was able to remove the curse and that's the main thing. My children are no longer in danger.